Good morning. We're going to uh, we're going to talk about serious stuff this morning. I haven't even taken the time to attend to myself. I took some of my morning supplement. Man, that one pill is so bitter. I thought I'd tasted some bitter stuff in my life, but that's things bitter. But I got a whole bunch of it. Man, whew. Okay, that's a bitter pill. But what I'm going to give you today is going to be even a bigger, more bitter pill because I'm going to address solving the Jewish problem. The final solution. Da, ja, jawohl! The final solution. Yes? No? Achtung! Pay attention there. I don't like presenting this topic, but I have to. I have shared this with those of me who were Jewish, and I've done my best, my very best, to get the point across. And I have managed to get the point across that my Jewish friends pick up the banner. They carry the torch. And then they get targeted. They get their arses kicked by the Zionists. One of my friends was honeypotted after going public with this. Other friends have had their lives threatened with going public with this, with having an opinion, a human opinion, a position, a perspective valued upon human life. And it's getting serious. It's getting to the point where we have to worry about all life on the planet. Mother Earth herself is at risk. The Earth, Mother Earth, the Earth groans for her saviors. But it's not going to be the Jews. I'm going to tell you that right now. Or will it? It's very simple. I'm going to equate the Jews and the blacks right now, and I don't give a damn if it offends either one of them. But I think the same principle applies. We are going to have a better society when the black man is restored as head of his family instead of being beat by the women all the time, and the women can walk into court and just say, he abused me, and the judges just believe them even though they're lying. Oh, you have to take them at their word, though. You can't not believe her now. That would be disrespectful. But you're not going to take his word at all. Talk about disrespectful. So my take on how the black family can improve is to restore the black man. A little different than that on the Jews. Because their matriarchy is screwed up to begin with. I tell the black people, take care of your ranks, take care of your own people. And I know that at the turn of the century now, for you listening to this, you're going to think I'm just talking 25 years ago. No, I'm talking 125 years ago. That turn of that century. The black family was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. Didn't think I'd be talking about this, but, you know, we fly by the seat of our pants. We don't prepare for this stuff, and we try to stay dead honest about it all. If the black man was once again empowered, there would be fewer blacks in prison. I assure you, it would drop like a rock. You want to reduce the criminality among the blacks? Then you restore fatherhood. How much can I convince you of that? Well, let me put it this way. We have the studies, and the studies show clearly that the cause of criminality is fatherless parenting. So we invented the Great Society, and we just say, oh, we're going to reward women for having babies out of wedlock. They can get a check, and they don't have to be nice or rely upon a man. They don't need no man. They're brave and stunningly, whatever it is. So we reward them for their bad behavior. The study was published in 2001 by Lykken, Lykken, not three Ks, KKK, but Lykken. It was in the American Psychologist, the awards-winning issue for that year. I miss getting that journal. I miss reading the awards issue. I really wish I could do that, but they don't give that away, and I can't afford frivolous things. And in that article, Lykken and his crew, Lykken studied the trends. It was a longitudinal study. They held for everything: race, religion, the wealth of the family, everything. Criminality was the same, except for one item. Actually, two items. We took prayer out of school in about 1964 when Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, that bad trip of a son of a bitch and murderous president who murdered his own president, become the president, and his wonderful wife, make America beautiful, plant a tree. I can't imitate that Texas accent of that horrible woman no matter what. And she owned a massive amount of stock in the Huey Helicopter Company, and she certainly wanted that Vietnam War. She got rich off it. We created the Great Society. Yes, we're going to create the Great Society. We can help everybody. We're going to wage war on poverty. It doesn't work. Lofty goal. It's like the ultimate goal of communism. You know, hey, we're going to get rid of poverty. That's the ultimate promise of communism. You can't do it. People do not manage or maintain. They don't handle themselves so they all can avoid it. And there's some people who actually are more comfortable living that way. Let them live that way. If they want, leave them alone. Who are we to tell them that they're not getting any enjoyment out of life? Who are we to dictate to them what's enjoyable and what's not? The number one cause, now we took prayer out of the schools, and in all of these criminal statistics, we got a big spike when they took prayer out of schools. Criminality like doubled. It jumped way up. So you dumb son of a bitches out there say, I don't need no God. I don't believe in God. I don't need him ruling over my ass, man. It made a difference. They took prayer out of school. Biggest difference in the world, except for one. And by the way, the criminality popped up and has stayed up since they took prayer out of schools. I myself would like to see all public schools done away with. I think they're horrible prison camps. I think they're institutionalized to produce people that are just going to go to the penitentiary anyway. They don't teach you how to think. They certainly don't teach you how to think so you can overcome the captors and the people that run this country, who are the Jews, by the way. That's all there is to it. And as my friends and colleagues say, it's not all of them, but it is always them, and it's most of them. That's what I read in one of the comments, and I got to thinking, I think they're right. I think I'll go with that. Because we definitely have a Jewish problem in the whole world at this point. They're liars, thieves, and murderers. And this stuff that's going on in Gaza is not the equivalent of the concentration camps of World War II. It's much, much, much more evil than what happened in the concentration camps. Now, I know a little bit about it because I've been there. As a little boy, my parents took us to Dachau. Yeah, Mom, it's good. We got to learn about this stuff. We have to learn our history. It's a family outing. So we went to Dachau, and I remember the painting on the wall. La Guernica, big painting hanging in this large U-shaped building on the wall. It was on loan. Pablo Picasso, the guy that took a dead bicycle, that took garbage and turned it into art, modern art. He's got to be a member of the tribe, and they push his crappy art. Man, I went to the Modern Art Museum because friends were telling me, you got to go. It was an austere, alienating environment. I think the moon would have been more hospitable. And we fund that stuff through our government because part of the destruction of our culture is to destroy our artistry. We don't have good art anymore. You don't have people that can really paint. I can't do it at all, and I can't even do stick figures. I call upon the Jews to solve the Jewish problem. Now, with the blacks, I call upon the blacks to solve their problems. Yes, why not? Why should they not? They have a vested interest in their people. And I think they're going to be motivated to do real good. Now, the American Indians are kind of different. For some reason, the people on top there always wanted to exploit their own people. And it's probably that way among the blacks. It's certainly that way with the dumbass whites. We elect people to office because they're going to put a chicken in every pot. They're going to do this for us. They're going to do that for us. By God, we're going to get free stuff. One of the most admirable things about an inmate in the penitentiary is when he realizes there's no such thing as free stuff. And he will say, I want only what I've got coming to me and nothing more, because the inmate is wise. The average American's dumb. The United Stupid States of America. Because the inmates know he has to pay for anything that he doesn't have coming. But we in America are too dumb, and we get suckered in by the politicians who make promises. And I'd love to see them go into prison when they don't hold up to their political promises, their campaign promises. I'd like to see them go to prison on that. At the very least, they should be run out of office immediately. And I have told my Jewish friends, and I begged and I pleaded and I made videos in the past. Please take care of your ranks. Please take care of the bad guys among you. Read the transfer agreement. Realize there were two different groups of Jews back then. We could classify them as two separate groups. And I got a copy of the transfer agreement somewhere. And we could name names. We can tell who the good guys were, and they were often murdered. And then we have the names of the bad guys, the bad Jews, the Zionist creeps that want to rule the earth and rape babies and kill Palestinians. They have successfully taken over America. They illegally occupy America today. They can kill one of us they want. They can take us out by destroying our lives, and they actually do it all the time, and they get away with it because they usually do it in the background. They network up, and their buddy pulls the trigger on you. And it's not always a gun. They will accuse you of anti-Semitism. They will destroy your reputation. They will set you up on false charges of sexual harassment. They love that. That's why I think if we find a woman who has filed false charges, she should do the time she was trying to get that poor fellow set up to do. Oh, No, she would never do that. She can't hurt a flea. She's a woman. She's a girl. Look, the most bloodthirsty evil on the planet that I have ever seen have been the females. They're a hell of a lot worse than the males. A man actually, all this stuff I heard when I was a child about how bad we men were and how only women love and nurture and are kind and, do all of this stuff. You forgot the other side of that coin, man. Mama bear. She'll flat out kill you. She'll take you on. She doesn't care if you're four times her size. She knows that she may die, but she's going to kill you, too. And the strange male bear that's 4 times her size knows. And by the way, the most dangerous animal where I come from is a female moose. She will tromp your ass down. She will kill you. She won't hesitate. Yeah, I've been charged. I was helpless, and I thought sure as hell she's going to trample me. I am dead. And she realized apparently that I was stuck in the snow and I couldn't move and I couldn't escape her. And she stopped. Wow. Man, I was pissed. I wanted to go take a gun, go back there, and I wanted to kill that damn moose. Threatening my life like that. She was a crazy moose, too, by the way, and there were lots of reports about her. And I think Fish and Wildlife should have put her down. It wasn't even her own yearling that she had adopted. Apparently, she had lost her own calf and adopted a yearling and was protecting a yearling. And yearlings, by the way, they're supposed to go off on their own. So this calf that she had with her might have been older than a yearling even. But she was a crazy, crazy moose. I have told my Jewish friends, you need to take care of this problem. Because I don't want to see you targeted just because you're a Jew. I like you. You're a good person. Or you got me fooled anyway. We've had good interactions. Seem like a good person to me. You're not trying to take unfair advantage of anybody. You're actually ethical, honest, and moral. But these other Jews are so evil, so wicked, so bad. And I've warned them. I've said, look, if you do not take care of the bad Jews, clean up your ranks, then people are going to go after all Jews. And they're not going to give a rat's ass. That's the proper word. I know I'm cussing. They're not going to give a rat's ass if it's a good Jew or a bad Jew. They're just going to kill them. I don't like the idea. I don't like that idea at all. And then I tell my Jewish comrades, the decent Jews out there, I tell them, well, if you won't take care of them, at least round them up and hand them over to us. And get out of the way. Let us take care of them. If you can't do it, if you won't do it, then give them to us. Let us take care of it. Just present them to us and tell us what the charges are, and we'll take care of it. But I don't think we should. Then we're getting pissed off all the way around the world. People are going to want to kill the Jews. It's happening, baby. It's coming. And it's your fault for being a good Zionist. I don't even want to call a Zionist a Jew. Zionism is something they formed in the last couple hundred years. And even the father of Zionism, Theodor Herzl, tried to recant later when he got older and wiser and he understood better. And they threw his ass under the bus. They didn't want anything to do with him. He started them up. He wound them up. He got them started. And they didn't need him anymore. They got rid of him. And he's trying to tone them down. I don't know. Maybe he realized that, hey, ultimately, if we do this shit, it's going to get us nuked. But let's talk about nukes. Let's talk about the Samson option. The Israelis threaten us with the Samson option. Now, Medvedev president or former president, not even in office, makes a statement publicly because he loves Mother Russia. He loves his nation. He loves his people. And he makes a statement to remind Donald Trump after Donald Trump rattled the sword first. Donald Trump made the threats. I'm going to send 2 of my nuclear subs out there after your asses. Dumbass. No statesmanship, no tact. He's maybe even touched going down the same road as Uncle Joe Biden. From my book, a man has character flaws. I have character flaws. Believe me. And with age, the character flaws either resolve and the man actually gets better, or the character flaws become more pronounced, more and more pronounced, and you can't hide it. Then you end up with an old crotchety pedophile up there on the stage who's the president of the United States, and he's up there with a little girl, cute as a button, dressed up in mother and father there, and he's got her hands on her shoulders. This is a video out there. You can see this. And this is a cute, precious little girl. Now, I don't think she's over 9 years old. She's before prepubescent. She could have been younger than that. And he puts around his hand and takes his... I'm telling you this, and I'm describing this to you, and I hope you're uncomfortable. This creeped me out. Made me want to shoot my television set. He reached around and creeped around to touch her breast, touch her little bud there. He touched her right there on the cameras in front of everybody. Her parents, mother and father there, trying not to embarrass the president, undoubtedly. And I think they were laughing nervously, allowing this shit to happen to their daughter there. And this little girl, oh, she did a wonderful thing. When that old geezer, Biden, went after her titty, after what would become a breast in a few years, she stepped outside of his grip. She stepped right outside, stepped front, a full step, and got away from that old man. And we, the nation, watched that. And we didn't protect her. We failed. We didn't charge his ass like we should have. I have a fear. My fear is that I lose some of my precious facilities. I lose some of my cortex. Maybe I have an infarct or, God forbid, a third frickin' stroke. Had 2 of them. Don't intend to do it again. If I do it again, I hope it's it. I hope it's gone. The first 2 were so rough. I lost my position as a psychologist. I finally realized my impairment and realized the damage and finally got a proper diagnosis. It took almost 2.5 years to get some to that. And at that point, I realized I might not be safe to practice as a psychology. And so I tried taking myself out. And you have to take, if you have a problem, you're required to report yourself to the board. And my treating psychologist, who was older and who knew the board and was a liberal, I don't think he's alive today. He told me not to do it. The board is just too rabid. They would go after me. And yeah, I've seen the board in action many times. They're the most mentally ill, insane mother you-know-whatters you've ever seen. And believe me, I've been before the board many, many times. It got to the point that the last time, I didn't care. And the board, they're still screwing with me. And they had the audacity to make all kinds of claims. And I found out, yeah, they were trying to wreck me. That's right. They were doing this on purpose. Because they're all liberals. And they gang up against those who don't believe the way they do. Liberalism is a mental disorder. And of course, I'm sitting there, and they got this new board member who's returned. They keep using the same people, which shouldn't be done. There's no need for it. You got over 4,000 licensees out there. There's plenty of other people to give the experience to and to avoid bad practices. But the board doesn't care. They just care about their power. And this one woman says, I can't understand why we're still doing this. Well, they had voted to restore my license twice, and the same jackass has torpedoed it. Gary Loveboy. I called him Loveboy on the radio. I was tired of his ass. I couldn't contain myself. It was just popping out over the air. Gary Lovejoy. I doubt he's still alive. Tell you the story someday about when I was going to go dump my black tank over on his lawn, but okay, I'm all right. I guess I shouldn't talk about that. But let's get back to the shit, shall we? The Jews are not going to clean up their own ranks. And at this point, I have to say, it is not all the Jews, but it's always the Jews. And it's most of them. I'd like to be able, I was before saying it's a little tiny amount, and I know the history. I've given it to you about how they're from Edomite seed, Idumeans, how they're descendants of the Canaanites, how the Canaanites are descendants of Cain, how Cain was fathered by a fallen angel named Gadriel. I like that. That's condensed. That's fast. The Jews have threatened us with the Samson option. We got the Samson option. They got 400 nukes, and they're telling us that they'll let those, and they claim they got nukes positioned in all the major cities around the world, the big cities, and they're threatening to blow those nukes off on us if they don't get their spoiled ass way. It's worse than that, folks. They're in all of the controls on all of our nuclear systems, and it is not above and beyond these bad Jews, the Zionists, to blow up the nukes in the silos, in the submarines, in the planes, wherever they're secured. It's not beyond them to blow the nukes up against us right here inside of America. And they're such a bad group that they've actually got plans and they've got other bombs planted. You don't realize it is that, because remember, we're all dumbasses, including me, the United Stupid States of America. We allowed Elon Musk, Tesla, to produce an electric battery with components in it, with pounds of cobalt in them. Do you know what happens to cobalt when it's irradiated? It becomes several times more toxic than the nuclear materials that started the blast. So you end up with radioactive cobalt that I believe has a half-life that goes like 275,000 years instead of only 25,000 years or whatever it is for regular fissionable material in a bomb. Which means every one of those electric vehicles out there with a goddamn Tesla battery in it is poison to us. If that city gets nuked, one bomb, every one of those Tesla battery packs, and this probably includes other battery packs as well, they approved this technology. They approved it. I think as a matter of national security, they should have shut that shit down. Every one of these Tesla cars becomes worse than a nuclear bomb because that irradiated radioactive cobalt poisons the land for hundreds of thousands of years, not just centuries. Hundreds of thousands, hundreds of centuries. Go look it up. Please put it in the comments, somebody. Man, I wish I had a group that would do that would, follow up and shore me up, demonstrate to you and remind me of these different facts and things. But if I walked into the Oval Office, I'd do my best to ban those vehicles. I'd say, you're not making any more of those Tesla bombs. You're not making batteries with cobalt in them like that. But the Samson option is bigger than what you realize, especially here in the United States where they have so much influence. How much influence? I'm glad you asked. Every member of the CDC is a Jew. And what did they do to you? They approved all of these toxic biologicals to be used and employed upon you, and advocated that you get the shot. Remember when we used to have to do that and we couldn't talk about it? And the FDA. Who's on the FDA? And by the way, it turns out it's not a federal drug and whatever was it, FDA, federal. I've been calling it the Federal Death Administration for so long, I don't know what to call it. They're all Jews. The people in high up positions in the bureaucracy that oversee things. Not always the directors. They don't make the secretaries Jews. Or should I say they don't make Jews secretaries because they don't want them standing out. But I'll tell you this, the people underneath them, the number 2 guy who's really running the show, or number 2 woman, is a Jew. And, by the way, those population numbers on the number of Jews that are alive today are lies. They have far more numbers, not just a percentage more. We're talking multiples over what they claim, because most of them do not reveal themselves. They hide themselves so they can become the president in the Oval Office. Their whole families are crypto Jews. Why? Because they got to hide it, because they want to advance. They don't want people looking at them askance. They don't want people looking at them sideways going, whoa, whoa. You're a Jew? That's a Jew? I didn't realize that. Are we safe around you? We need to be asking that question of every Jew in the country. Am I safe around you? Now, here's the guideline, and I'm going to give it to you because we're solving the Jewish problem. Look at their fruits. Judge them by their fruits is what the Bible says. If they do bad stuff, they are bad. That's all there is to it. Okay? If they are kind to other people, that's the big Q right there, then they're okay. If they're kind to others, they're fine. Now, I'm not going to marry one, and I won't go do business with one if I can avoid it, because they have hurt me so much. I won't do business with one just out of self-defense, out of protecting myself. If they're not kind to others, have nothing to do with them. Protect yourself. So it comes down to an individual thing. It's not a one broad brush stripe fits all. And my last supervisor in my training said that my videos were hurtful. What I said was hurtful. Well, the problem is that what the rabbis have done has been hurtful. They've been misleading their own people. They've lied and deceived their own people. And they've got them riled up thinking, oh, everybody's against me. Really? I wonder why. Look at Gaza. Look at the West Bank. They're already doing that in the West Bank, by the way. And in case you're wondering, they're going to do that to us too. Palantir is every day sending a hit list of a couple hundred individuals to Israel every day. Hey, here's 200 identified targets for you. These people are the dangerous ones inside Gaza, among the Palestinians. And what do the Israelis do with that list that Palantir generates them? They go and kill the son of a bitches. They hunt them down and weed them out, pull them out, and dispatch of them. And the fellow Peter Thiel from Palantir, when asked about this stuff, says, I'm not going to judge my client. I'm not going to judge my client. and he's a Jew. He's a homosexual Jew. I think he's an Israeli dual, but I don't know for sure. If you could look that up and tell us in the comments, I'd like to know if he's a dual Israeli citizen. And his CEO partner in chief, Karp, listen to those guys in the recordings that are available. Listen to them talk. And report back here as to your general impressions as to whether or not they're safe for consumption. But they're in the middle of the country in Colorado, in Denver, not too far from the Denver airport. And they're allowed to do that, I think. They're doing it. They're getting away with it. It reminds me of the rich, wealthy gentleman on Manhattan who funded and sent over the Jewish rabble from New York City. I don't know if that's Brooklyn, the Bronx, or wherever the heck it was, but it's one of those two. And they spoke Yiddish, which is not Jewish, has nothing to do with Hebrew language. It's not a derivative. It's not associated at all. And it's not associated with Aramaic either. It's a different religion for a different language for a different people who have a different religion which they don't make public. They worship Satan. They harvest adrenochrome. They bleed children. They drink the blood. They eat people. They're cannibals. They sacrifice babies. Go watch Soldiers Field, July 3rd, 1933, and you can see in black and white moving pictures the full ceremony reenacted. Reenacted, mind you. My ass. Word is it was a baby girl they sacrificed. And it went over so good with the people at the World's Fair, this romance of the people, that 4 days later they reenacted it. They did it again. And the word is the first time the highest number is 155,000 attended that. Now, I don't know if you can even fit that number into that stadium. Somebody tell me. And the second time it was 4 days, and that was on a Sunday. Yeah, Lord's Day, yeah. Because they worship the sun god. Apollo. Apollyon. For some of you out there, that's an important word. Look it up in your Bible. It's in there one time. Just one time. If you find it a second time, let me know. I'm learning too. I watched halfway through a presentation that's about 15 minutes long. Less than halfway. I think I watched 6 minutes out of the 15 minutes of a Holocaust survivor. And this man he's older than I am. But if you find him, I have a question for you. Who's better looking? Who looks younger? This fellow claims he's a survivor of the camps, and he, being a Jew and a survivor of the camps, he wore at age 7 the yellow star on him. Good Lord. That would make him damn near 100 years old. $90? He says he hates what's going on in Gaza and that it's different than what happened in the concentration camps in Germany, or I want to call them the work camps. And if you haven't seen it, you need to see the 3.5-hour documentary. Now, some places are calling it a feature because it's long, but it's a documentary. It's factual. It tells you more about American history than you're ever going to get on the news or going to get in any college or university here that's controlled by the Jews. Yes, America is occupied and controlled by the Jews. You're stuck with it. I'm stuck with it. We are their bond slaves, their bonded servants. And I mean that literally, because they use bond paper and they do their corporations and their frauds against us and have us enslaved on their bonded paper. And they make huge bucks off us. And I thought we were worth millions of dollars. And guess what, folks? It's billions of dollars. Yeah. This Jewish fellow says, do not do that in my name. Not in my name. I'm a Holocaust survivor. I was in the camps. And this is worse than what was in the camps. And he's definitely right about that. Because when I look at the camps, and by the way, that documentary covered the camps from a new area, new perspective. I learned something from it. The video has been out for 5 years, and I've seen links to it, and people have sent it to me 5 years ago, and I'm like, in my ego, I said, man, I know all this stuff. No, I didn't know all of it. And the fact is that it was slave labor, as best I can tell, but I don't know about that. It might not have been slave labor. Why? Because they had brothels. They had houses of prostitution there available for the residents to partake in. And you can't have prostitution if you don't have pay, if you don't have money. I mean, she's not going to do that for nothing. So they had to be paid. They had their own monetary system in there. They were paid. I don't think they were slaves. I think they were paid, and I think they were somewhat protected. However, I also think that it was the Zionist Jews who ran the camps, and the good people, the good Jews who were the inmates, so to speak, were captive. They had Olympic-sized swimming pools. They had other facilities. The grounds were very nice, and they planted the bodies. We have a friend, a witness, and he was in Army intelligence, a warrant officer, and his orders were go to Dresden. This was after the firebombing, and which was the real Holocaust. 400,000 people minimum died in the firebombing, more than Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. It was not a necessary target. More Germans were killed after World War II than during the entire World War. Ike starved them in the Rhineland Meadows concentration camps and buried a lot of them alive with bulldozers. They cried. Ike was Jewish from his mother. His superiors were Jewish as well. When General Patton realized the communism that had taken over, the cancer that had infected America, he was determined to come back and run for president. He was going to tell the American people the truth about their leaders, the genocidal tendencies of the Marshall Plan. And he was going to reveal them for their communism and how they had hurt the country. That's why they assassinated him. And President Roosevelt himself approved the assassination, ordered the assassination. I'd love to see the Jews clean up their problem. There are people like Norm Finkelstein, Dr. Finkelstein, who have been speaking out for longer than I have, a long time, and very honestly and truthfully. And they attacked him like they attacked Candace Owens, like they're going after that other woman that I really don't like. I do not like her. If I see her, I just shut her off. I won't watch her. Dumbass white bitch. Folks, they control our media. They control Hollywood. They tell the stories. They control the television. They produce the commercials. They control all of the corporations. Yeah, they figured out how to do that. It's very shrewd. They've taken it all over. They own it all at this point. They've stolen it, and of course they're holding us, and they're taking us down. And they might succeed, but I think that I've got the solutions. Some of them. And as far as this Federal Reserve System, I think we ought to be truthful about it. We ought to go public with it and declare it what it is. It's fraud. It's theft by fraud. And we should require the owners of the stock, the holders of the stock, to pay up for all of the fraud. Why should we pay off a debt that was done by fraud? And it was a big trap. There was no way out of it. The way I see it is, we should round up the stockholders and their families of the Federal Reserve, and we should demand repayment. And believe me, they have so much wealth put aside, so much gold and silver, fine artwork, and then there's the old archaeological finds that are precious. They've been keeping from the rest of us. We should demand they return all of that. Since we the people around the planet, have funded the Vatican, there's more than 52 miles of corridors of books that are ours, that belong to the world. The Vatican doesn't own that. They stole it all. We need to get those books. We need to get those inventions. We need the history that they've hidden from the rest of us. Look, folks, the number one cause of criminality is fatherless parenting. That's what the study showed us. And the stats were very clear. And it doesn't suit the owners of the plantation that we psychologists manage for them, and the politicians manage for them, and the attorneys manage for them, and the doctors oversee for them as well. All of the professions are turned against the laity. They predate upon us. Letting my mind kind of flow here, and it flowed right over. Look, 70% of boys reared in a household with a head of household, mother, female head of household, mother alone. Doesn't matter if they're black or white. Nothing matters in that except this. No father. 70% of them have a lifetime criminal justice experience. In other words, at some point in their lives, they have this wicked experience with the justice system. 70%. And you think giving children, automatically awarding custody and money, cash, and prizes to the mother is in the best interest of the child? Hell no. That's just the boys. We don't have the stats for girls. And I assure you, it's higher. It's not lower. And there'll never be the research done on it because our keepers don't want that truth to be told. They don't want the facts and the science to get out there. 70%. That's almost all. It's like a sentence to prison. Why? Because you got a single mother head of household. Now, mind you, 30% don't go that route. I know the women are ready to just bite my head off right now. Guess what the stats are? Well, I'll show you. I'll reveal one more thing, and then we have a game here. Would you like to play a game? If you have intact family of origin, mother and father together, no matter what, you got them together. Because remember, the logic, which is not logical, by the way, is that it's better to separate those parents and those children grow up in a combative household where the parents arguing and fighting and battling and and battering each other. That's much more damaging than it is to separate them. Is it really? Mother and father together, male children. Guess what percentage of them that go to prison or have a lifetime criminal justice system incident? Now, I can't define that for you. I don't think Lycan's alive anymore, and the title of his research pissed me off because it was so liberal, so expanding government overreach that I found it insulting enough that I want to take a shot at the son of a bitch. But I think this is the only way he could get it published, was to advocate for parental licensure. So the title of the article is On Parental Licensure in the American Psychologist. I saved a copy of this. Lifetime criminal justice system incidents for boys reared with father and mother together was 6%. 6% compared to 70%. Wow. I think it's in our vested interest to keep parents together. Look, I meet a lot of women that are separated. They claim they're single, but they're not, or they're divorced. They don't call themselves divorced anymore because they're lying to the rest of us. They want to market themselves a little better. And we have a lot of women who never bother to get married, and they have a family anyway. My inclination, if I'm on a date with one and I find that I have some interest, if I pray to the Holy Spirit, and I did this last time, I did this last fall, I prayed, hey, she's got some attraction to her. She's half my age. I am praying to Yahweh at this point because the last date I had before that was not very good. And the one I had before that was absolute disaster. So I said my prayers. Yahweh answered my prayer clean and clear. The Holy Spirit tells me, guide her in the direction of the father of her baby. The father, they have a son together. Guide her back there. And this man's already moved on. He's not married. And I'm looking at this woman thinking, hold out. Get back to him. Go back there. She says, I think he's tired of me. Why? Why? What makes you think that? Because I was cruel to him. I was mean to him. She realizes now that she was too harsh with him. She drove him away. She treated him horribly. And so as a result, he has moved on to another woman. Anyway, the Spirit told me, John, don't risk it. Don't take a chance. And I proceeded to just let her go in that direction. And then I did a little bit of avoidant actions after that because I really wanted to put my distance there because I didn't want to get used by her. I didn't want to muddy the waters. And I wasn't going to take her on for several reasons. It just was not going to work. And I'm not going to bond with somebody, hopefully not bond prematurely like I used to do when I was young and dumb and full of, So, you have the stats. 6% of boys raised by mother and father have a problem with the criminal justice system at some point in their lives. That's all. That's not tremendously high. It's actually okay. And then you have children reared by mother alone. Not 60%, Boys, by the way, 70%. That's the vast majority. Almost 3/4. It's more than 2/3. So here's the question for you. Guess. If the father is rearing the children alone, guess. And a lot of you don't like that. They want to see them adopted out, or they want the grandparents to have them, or some women just don't want to hate men so much they can't allow the fathers to have custody. Especially with grandmothers, I've seen it happen, and great grandmothers, which is idiotic because it's not their child. And the father has got a vested interest, and believe me, he's going to be able to provide for her better than an old woman can. What do you think the percentage is of boys reared by father alone, no mother in the house? Imagine that, no female influence, no mother in the house. What do you think the incidence rate is? You have 70% on the one hand, and you have 6% on the other hand. So what happens if it's father alone? Come on, put it down in the comments. Commit to it. It's just a game. You're not going to lose anything. It is 6%. The same outcome as reared by both parents. Biologically intact family, 6%. Father, head of household, father alone, 6%. Criminality is associated with fatherless rearing, fatherless parenting. So all these women and the judges think they're doing good because they're better than the rest of us because they're giving the mother the children, are acting in the worst interests of those children, the men, the boys. Now, we don't have the stats for girls. I want to tell you something, though. It's much worse. I believe it's much worse than it is for boys. However, I also believe that we do not hold females responsible. We don't hold them accountable. They can get away with murder much easier than a man. And we know for years, decades, if a woman kills a man, she is sentenced on average to only 7 years. If a man kills anybody, he on average is sentenced to 20 years. 3 times the sentence for the same crime. And we have mothers that kill their own children. It's not the norm, thank God. My mother promised every day she was going to kill me. Oh well, what can one say? I bet your mother told you she was going to kill you too. Maybe you were perfect. So, in solving the Jewish problem, the first thing we need to do is tell the Jews, you have a problem. Would you like to solve it yourselves? And if they refuse to solve it, or if they're unable to solve it, then we have to ask them, would you mind handing them over to us? Would you mind getting out of the way while we administer justice and protect ourselves and our children and whoever, old ladies or whatever it is they do? Would you protect whoever it is they commit crimes against? Would you mind getting out of the way so we can do that? Because at this point, if you do not, as a Jewish individual, clean up your own ranks, if you are not willing as a Jewish individual to allow another Jew to be taken into custody, like I think his name was Jacob Frank, he was the man that was put to death, sentenced to death for killing, I think it was 13-year-old Mary Fagan or 14-year-old. He had a pencil factory, I believe, and this little girl worked for him, and he raped her and murdered her. And as a result, the Jews formed the Anti-Defamation League, founded upon defending the innocence of a fellow found guilty and put to death of a pedophile crime. But of course, today, pedophilia is okay. President Trump has told us pedophilia is okay. It's okay to harvest the bodies, harvest their organs, and eat that meat. It's okay to sell that on the market. It's okay to take the children, sell them into slavery somewhere, or to take these beautiful young women and sell them into slavery to the brothels around the planet. Trump is in the way. He's obstructing justice. And people say, we don't export anything. We don't make anything. Oh, effing excrement. You know that we sell the most precious commodity on the earth, the most valuable product on the earth. We sell it. It's just not an open market. It mostly goes to the Hollywood weirdos over there because it is the elixir of life for them. It keeps them youthful, young-looking, extends their lives, gets them higher than a kite, gives them more energy. And you don't believe me? Go look up Betty White. When she's asked, what's her secret to looking so young and so beautiful? She tells you straight up, oh, I drink human blood. Every 3 weeks, I drink human blood. She doesn't tell you it's been adrenalized, it's adrenochrome, and that there are approximately how many children have to be killed to provide her this one drink? Hulk Hogan dies in good shape. I don't see anything wrong with him. He's not even aging much. He dies right after he decides he's going to get revenge against Hollywood because somebody in Hollywood fed him adrenochrome and deceived him about it, lied to him about it, didn't tell him what it was, and he liked it. And he finally quit using it. And he was upset and he wanted to strike back. And they knew that because of this giant spy system. Palantir's got all the data. They knew he was working with Mel Gibson. They knew he was going to expose their entire network. And they'll do anything, including fake Jeffrey Epstein's death, and including put a president in office to obstruct justice. Is the president allowed to obstruct justice? Good question. So we're going to stop because I'm way over time. Thanks for hanging out with me so much this morning, so long. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. I should ask for that in the beginning. Subscribe if you're brave enough. They already know you've tuned into my video. And share this video, but not widely. Share this only with people that who you know. And ask them if you're a believer. Because if they're a believer, they might be A-okay. If they're not a believer, I don't know if you want to take that chance. And I know this is going to get around the Jews because I'm putting this stuff in the title. I'm not pulling the punch at this point. The Jews have a problem. They have to demonstrate to the world that they're human, like the rest of us, and they have to be kind. Kind to each other, because Jews are horrible to other Jews. And they have to be kind to other people. If they're not willing to abide by the 10 Commandments, which are the law of life, natural law, then we can't accept them. We can't accept that. We have to defend ourselves and others from them. And people inside the United States of America, who have been educated, are trapped in this system that the bankers gave us. They took over all of the institutions. They dictate. By the way, Mr. Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was selling all of the textbooks into the education system so they could hide the crimes of the centuries, so they could hide the roots. We've had censorship even in the Bible translations. There's been censorship and things hidden from us. Yahweh has allowed it to exist as a test. You keep reading that Bible, and Yahweh, through His Holy Spirit, will show you. And then get together with your brothers and sisters on a regular basis. fellow Bible readers and be respectful. Listen to what they pull from the Bible. As wild as it is, respect it. Be grateful they love you enough to share this with you. And see if between the two of you might come up with another way of looking at it, another lesson to be mined from the scriptures. Yahweh bless.